7 teachings of Socrates that will change the way you see life. Socrates didn't build empires. He didn't write books or lead armies. He simply walked around the streets of ancient Athens, asking questions. He questioned politicians, poets, and ordinary people, not to mock them, but to make them think. And from those conversations came lessons that still speak to us, thousands of years later. Here are 7 of Socrates' teachings, lessons that can reshape the way you live, think, and see yourself. Number 1. The unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates said this during his trial, right before he was sentenced to death. It wasn't arrogance, it was honesty. To him, a life without self-reflection is like sailing without a map. You might move, but you'll never really go anywhere. Most people live on autopilot. They follow what society tells them, and what success looks like, what happiness should be. But Socrates believed that a good life starts when you stop and ask, why do I live the way I do? Are these goals really mine? Am I being true to myself? When you start questioning, you begin to understand your choices, and that's when you start truly living. Number 2, know thyself. Socrates believed self-knowledge was the foundation of all wisdom. If you don't understand yourself, your fears, your values, your desires, then you're just reacting to the world instead of living intentionally. He taught that most of our problems come from not knowing who we are. People chase money, fame, relationships, and approval because they haven't figured out what actually fulfills them. To know thyself means being brutally honest with your emotions and flaws. It's asking, what makes me angry? What makes me come alive? What kind of person do I want to be when no one's watching? Once you truly understand yourself, you stop living to impress others and start living in alignment with your real values. Number 3, I know that I know nothing. This quote defines Socrates' entire philosophy. He realized that people who think they know everything are usually the ones who understand the least. Socrates never claimed to have the truth. He claimed to be searching for it. And that's what made him wise. True intelligence isn't about having all the answers. It's about staying curious, questioning your own beliefs, and being humble enough to say, I might be wrong. In today's world, everyone wants to be an expert. But Socrates reminds us that real wisdom begins when you admit your own ignorance. Because the moment you think you know it all, you stop learning. Number 4, virtue is knowledge. For Socrates, being a good person wasn't about rules, religion, or reputation. It was about understanding what good truly is. He believed that if someone truly knows what is right, they'll naturally do what is right. In other words, evil actions come from ignorance, not from pure malice. Think about it. Most people hurt others because they're blinded by anger, greed, or fear. They don't fully understand the consequences of their actions. So, the key to living a moral life, according to Socrates, is education, not just reading books, but constantly learning about yourself, human nature, and the world. When you know better, you do better. Number 5, question everything. The way Socrates taught, now called the Socratic method, was through constant questioning. He'd approach someone and ask simple questions like, what is justice? Or what is love? But the more they answered, the more contradictions he exposed. He didn't do this to humiliate people. He did it to show that we often repeat ideas we've never really thought through. His method teaches us to be critical thinkers, not to accept things just because everyone says so. Question your beliefs, your traditions, your news sources, even your own thoughts. Because the truth can only survive when it's tested. In your life, this means not being afraid to ask why. Why do I believe this? Why do I want this? Why do I fear this? That's how real wisdom is born. Number 6, care for your soul more than your wealth. Socrates lived in poverty, but he never saw himself as poor. He believed the most important thing wasn't your possessions. It was the state of your soul. He taught that people who obsess over money, power, or beauty end up empty because they neglect the part of themselves that truly matters, their character. To Socrates, your soul was the essence of who you are, your morals, your choices, your inner peace. And nurturing it meant living with honesty, integrity, and compassion. He said it best: wealth does not bring goodness, but goodness brings wealth and every other blessing, both to the individual and to the state. So instead of chasing what looks good, focus on what is good. You'll find a peace that money can't buy. Number 7, stay true to your principles, even if it costs your life. When Socrates was sentenced to death for corrupting the youth and disrespecting the gods, he had an escape plan. His students offered to smuggle him out of prison, but he refused. He said that breaking the law, even an unjust one, would betray everything he stood for. He chose to drink the poison hemlock, calmly, peacefully, staying true to his principles until the end. That final act became his greatest lesson. It showed that philosophy isn't just word. It's how you live when things get hard. Integrity means standing by your truth, even when the world stands against you. Socrates proved that wisdom isn't about how much you know, it's about how deeply you think. He showed that a meaningful life isn't one filled with answers, but with questions that challenge you to grow. So remember his teachings, reflect, know yourself, stay curious, be good, and above all, never stop questioning, because that's not just philosophy, and that's the art of truly living.